The Los Angeles Lakers front office is at it again. More trade talks have started to surface, and we're going to be discussing them in detail and if they work or not. Russell Westbrook is at this point now either got to go or got to stay, and we've got to make this thing work. But there are three very interesting trade proposals that just popped up before the season even starts, so I want to be discussing those. And I am your NBA white guy. I talk all things NBA hoops from a hooper's perspective. I also highlight your comments and trade talks as well. So if you like that, make sure you're always commenting down below your thoughts and opinions, and also make sure you tap that subscribe button and you click the bell so you're notified every time I do a new video. So I've had a lot of fun with these, and I've been bringing up your comments. We're playing general manager for the Los Angeles Lakers, but these are viable trades that I truly feel could help the Los Angeles Lakers today win a championship. And that's the thing that's frustrated me over the past, couple years watching this team, is having these opinions and wondering why are they not doing it, and also the opinions of why did we bring in this person. So these trade talks are something that the Lakers have just discussed. They're fresh, hot off the press, and I'm going to be pulling them up so that you guys can see them. So trade number one is one that I really am interested in, and I have not heard yet. With Kevin Durant staying a Brooklyn Net, Kyrie Irving trade may not be there. What do you guys think about Ron Boyd's trade here with the Lakers? The Lakers team as constructed are a good team. They have a Miles Turner who can replace AD if he gets injured again. I would trade Anthony Davis to the Nets for Kyrie Irving, Ben Simmons, and Seth Curry. Then I would trade Russell Westbrook and the picks to Indiana for Miles Turner and Buddy Hield. This would trade the dynamics of the Lakers being a championship team. Ben Simmons is a defensive stud. I totally agree. And he was an all-star, and that is not to be taken lightly. If you can make an all-star team, you're a straight up baller. You can also have Miles Turner who plays defense. He can shoot threes, and you have 3-point snipers with Seth Curry and Buddy Hield. I'm in agreement. This would be an amazing team, but the Lakers would have a playmaker in Kyrie Irving and trade THT for Pat Bev. This would put the Lakers in contingency against a stacked Western Conference. Now, you're talking about getting Seth Curry, Buddy Hield, Miles Turner, Kyrie Irving, and Pat Bev. Please make yourself the general manager of the Lakers. I would make this trade today. Now, I don't know how any of this would even happen. I don't like to really dive into the analytics of things, but let's just talk about this trade for a second. So you do have a couple teams who are really, and obviously there's got to be a ton of picks and there's got to be a ton of players moving around on this. And this is only if Kyrie Irving comes into this season and says, I'm not playing for you, Brooklyn Nets, which I don't see it happening. I bet him and Kevin Durant are already talking about, let's run, let's roll this. And we do have Ben Simmons. The dude's a monster. The dude's an all-star. He's 6'10", so the dude can actually, he doesn't need to be scoring. I would actually put him down low on the block, running back and forth, cut, somewhere where he can get his mental back. This is something that Ben Simmons actually needs. He needs to see that ball go through the net a couple times. He's going to be able to run fast breaks. He's going to be able to facilitate that ball. This is going to allow Kevin Durant to get way more open shots. He could kind of run that LeBron James, Kyrie Irving thing too, where Kyrie was playing more off the ball, running around screens and getting open shots instead of playing a true point guard. That's why it worked so well with LeBron and Kyrie. LeBron always brought the ball up, but Kyrie was able to get two double screens, off ball screens, and get open for open shots, or put the ball on the ground and he had LeBron's defender pulled out. So this is something that's really advantageous for that team, and I love that trade. We're going to talk about another one, but before I get to that, you guys need to be commenting down below, what do you think the Lakers should be doing right now, and I will bring up your trade. Here's another one from K-Duck. It's a little bit more in the mix, but these ones are more like this could happen. So the Lakers are going to get Colin Sexton for a sign and trade, $88 million, 4 years. Patrick Beverly, Vanderbilt, Malik Beasley, Jordan Clarkson. That's $68.3 million out and $68.8 million in. So now we're actually talking numbers here. The Cavs get Bogdanovich, Conley, Austin Reeves. I hate losing Reeves. Again, this is a hustle dude. A play like we need these kind of players. I think in that bubble run, the guy who gets no credit was your boy Alex Caruso, AC Fresh, baby. That dude got his hand on everything. He did all the diving. He got, diving on the floor, extra possessions. I'm telling you, that is more important. Even those Miami Heat runs, the Birdman just being in the middle, even if he got dunked on, it didn't matter. He was up, just defending, blocking shots, getting rebounds, dirty work. You have to have these players, and I think Reeves is going to be not only a knockdown shooter, but he he's going to be a machine, just hard worker. So the Cavs get Bogdanovich, Conley, Austin Reeves, Rudy Gay, and Malik. So 51 out, 51 in, and Utah gets 2027 and 2029 LA first. They get 2027 Cav first. They get Westbrook, Kevin Love, THT, Kendrick Nunn, Stanley Johnson, Wenyen Gabriel. 96 out, 95 in, and $84 million expiring. So that's another big thing for Utah is they want a ton of draft capital and they want every contract expiring so that they can rebuild. So what's your guys' thoughts on this one? This has a lot going to it, but I will just be brutally honest. I think you're kind of getting rid of some of the players that are obviously, cheap right now, but are great for the Lakers. I think Kendrick Nunn's going to be a beast. I think Austin Reeves could be one of the most talked about players next year. And Stanley Johnson, again, you're getting rid of all the hustle dudes. If you get rid of Reeves and Stanley Johnson, that's their two dudes they have right now that are doing all the dirty work, going to get a bunch of boards, going to get their hands on a lot of balls, going to dive down on the court and get those extra possessions. So that's one thing. If we just bring in a bunch of, kind of heavily star-studded dudes, they're all going to kind of want their buckets, and we don't have any dogs. We ain't got nobody willing to do the dirty work, and that is one of the most important roles in a championship contending team. This next trade is the best trade. I think it's absolutely going to happen. This was a comment that I got from DFXG. Only fans over 18 year alle ser session aber zwers zusammen die Nummern 10-1 Brunet in Andre. Okay, so I read this and I went over this trade over and over, and what it says is basically a 10-for-1 trade with the Lakers and the Milwaukee Bucks. So the Lakers would receive Giannis, Chris Middleton, and 8 other all-stars, and then the Lakers are just going to get 1 player back. So I love this trade by DFXG. That's what I want you guys doing, is commenting below too. But in all seriousness, let's do one more trade here. So here's one by Joey. He commented a few times, and this is something that, again, this takes a little bit more movement, but I'm loving, this kind of rotation change for the Lakers. So I commented something a little bit different yesterday, but Kyrie is off the board. I think a lot of us are acknowledging right now that Kyrie's probably, off the board. The Lakers would get Pat Bev, Evan Fournier, Buddy Hield, and Miles Turner. I love it. This is something that a lot of other people weren't talking about, is getting the Evan Fournier over there. I love him. He's from France. I love any of these European players that play from a young age playing against grown-ass men. It just makes him tougher. This is a guy that Scott Skiles, his previous coach, absolutely loved coaching, said he was an absolute dog, and he's super confident in playing for the purple and gold. You got to be as confident as you possibly can, and he's a knockdown shooter. So that's a great pickup right there. The Jazz would get Westbrook, obviously, expiring contract or a buyout. And you get Obi Toppin, Lakers first, 1 Lakers first and 4 Knicks first. The Knicks get Donovan Mitchell, Wenyen Gabriel, Stanley Johnson. Again, Stanley's getting thrown in a lot of these. I don't mind if you lose one of them. I think Stanley's a great player. Again, keeps the cap down, but I would obviously move off him if we could get a Pat Bev, because that brings the dog right back into the locker room. Fournier, incredible shooter. Buddy Hield, incredible shooter. And Miles Turner. A lot of people have been saying, why Miles? You've already got AD and you've already got Bryant. Why? Because AD hasn't played 35% of his games in the Lakers. We cannot be down to just one center again. I think the success of the Lakers was honestly when they had 3 big-time centers, JaVale McGee, Dwight Howard, and Anthony Davis. Those 2 other centers made AD tougher. They were always in his grill. They were always cheering him on. You got to have not only that sideline warrior in the background, but you also have to have somebody who comes in and brings the toughness. McGee is 7'3" with like a 40-foot wingspan. He blocks everything, and Dwight Howard plays bully ball. You hate playing against him and you love having him on your team. I loved that trio right there. And again, with Alex Caruso playing that defensive role, which I think Reeves can do, and having AD play that role, and bringing in a Miles Turner, having 3 good centers, this is what makes the Lakers deeper. This allows AD and Braun to get more rest and get to the postseason. That's all we got to do. So I'm loving these trades. You guys now got to comment down below. What do you think the Lakers should be doing, or what is your trade proposal? I am your NBA white guy. I talk all things NBA hoops from a hooper's perspective. And until the next video, my homies, we'll catch you later.